What's up, everyone? Today we're going to talk about the Proving Grounds Grandmaster Nightfall. It's pretty challenging, all things considered. A lot of people here are comparing it to Glassway, so I'm going to try to make life a little bit easier for everybody to try to get a clear for that Conqueror seal, or just trying to farm out some palindromes, whichever. Before we begin, if this guide helps you to get that clear, be sure to sub and hit that like. It really does help grow the channel. Much appreciated. And if you're regular on Twitch, be sure to check me out on there for more me mauling, pretty much. Twitch.tv/SSneakyBeaver, that's 2 S's. Link is going to be in the description. Let's start from the top with character and mod uses. As far as characters go, a middle tree Sentinel Titan with Ursa Furiosa is extremely powerful for this GM, and highly recommended that you have at least one on your team, just for the ability to block, generate orbs, give you a few seconds of breathing room to nuke anything in front of you before it nukes you, pretty much. For Warlocks and Hunters, it's actually pretty diverse, if I'm being honest. Warlocks, you can choose from Wall of Radiance with Phoenix Protocol, Chaos Reach with Geomags, even Shadebinder, just because freezing enemies is really powerful for this strike, or you could just run any of those with Aeon Gloves to provide your team with heavy ammo when needed. Same goes for Hunters. You can run either Tree of Nightstalker, Top Tree, or Bottom Tree, or you could run Revenant for its pretty ridiculous stasis toolkit. For reference, my team was able to do a sub 20 with 1 Sentinel Titan with Ursas, 1 Chaos Reach with Aeons, and myself as Revenant also using Aeons, so we kind of juggle heavy back and forth. And if anybody's curious what I ran for my Revenant, here you go. Piece of stuff first. So the melee to get your melee back. The melee to get your melee back. The class ability to get your melee back. Yeah, let's go with that. Triple Jump, Withering Blade, Dustfield Nades, Freezing, Slowing, etc., etc. Then we have Hedrons for damage, Refraction to getting your ability, energy back, and then Torment for getting your grenade back when you get hit. That's pretty much for the general stasis stuff, but I do have also specific mods down here. Glacial Inheritance to get your super refunded a little bit, and then Resonance Siphon to get your ability energy back whenever a fire team member stuns a champion. So all of that basically just makes me regenerate energy over and over and over and over, freezing stuff, and then that will combine with your teammates if you're using Focus Lens. So for weapons, there's a couple of good choices you can make. My suggestion would definitely be a sniper rifle, either in the kinetic or the energy slot, doesn't matter which, and then complement that with a hand cannon or a pulse in the opposite slot for your unstoppable rounds. So for example, I was running Succession with Left from Gold, which I mentioned is nuts, and then Igneous Hammer hand cannon, solar, 120. It pops the fireballs in one shot, which is great. You could also do, let's say, a combination of Frozen Orbit, which is Void, and that helps with the Threshers, obviously they're Void Shields, and then you could run, let's say, True Prophecy as a 120 in your kinetic, or you could run Messenger for unstoppable rounds as well. And you could toy with this as well. Like I said, there's Adored for Arc. You could do that. You could do any... Let's say you... Not even Succession. Let's say you don't have the God roll or whatever. You can even use, like, Supremacy. As long as you have a long distance plus unstoppable rounds, you should be fine. And let's move on to Heavy. Alright, so Heavy-wise, you, of course, have Old Reliable and Anarchy doing tons and tons of damage. It is insane pretty much everywhere, including boss damage. It's kind of a given, right? But if you happen to not have Anarchy, or you don't have a good time running it, I suppose, you could do the Tomorrow's Answer approach, or Two-Tailed Fox, for example, or any rocket launcher that has tracking. You could do Royal Entry code, what is it, Duello from this season. Rockets for, like, interceptors, the Void Scion, kill them real quick, especially with tracking. And those are really the top 2 options, I think, for Heavy in this Nightfall. If you don't have these, then, you could use Xenophage or 7 Seraph Saw for more Mind Cells. But my top 2 would definitely be Rocket or Anarchy, whichever you prefer. And let's move on to mods. First up, I'll just say War Mind Cells, not all that crazy in this strike. I wouldn't focus on them here. Trust me, I'm the War Mind Cell guy. If they were good, I would tell you. The main focus, I think, should be stacking ammo finders and synergy with your team. Everybody in your fire team should have Anti-Barrier Sniper and Unstoppable Hand Cannon or Unstoppable Pulse. Obvious reasons, I'm sure I don't need to tell you why. Next up, I believe, and honestly this is the most important thing, you should definitely have a Resist mod and Concussive Dampener equipped. Why? Because this allows you to be able to tank one hit from the boss, whether it be a Fireball or the Void Hand Cannon. Being able to survive one shot rather than just being outright one-tapped and nuked in a single shot and then wasting a revive is really helpful in beating the boss and just keeping the flow going, stuff like that. Note that you may have to have a certain amount of resilience for this. I personally ran tier 5 resilience, and I was able to survive 1 Fireball or 1 Void Hand Cannon. Sorry, Hand Cannon, whatever it's called. The Brockus Hand Cannon. And, living from one of those shots is really, really helpful. Staying alive, duh. And finally, we have Charge with Light mods and Artifact mods. These are basically your primary tools of damage, or defense in this case. You can do things like Taking Charge, Charge Harvester, for example. Where the hell is Void? Here we go. So extra reserves, Charge Harvester. You can do Protective Light, which is what I will be doing, or what you'll see in the run, just for defensive purposes. Obviously, like I mentioned, High Energy Fire. You could also do things like Blast Radius for rocket launchers and GLs. There's plenty of things to toy with. It's honestly up to preference, but in general, Taking Charge, and then defense or offense, just for that extra oomph in your arsenal. And then, of course, Ammo Finders when you can, Scavs if you can, and then for artifact mods, like I showed earlier, Resonant Siphon and Glacial Inheritance, because I'm using Stasis. But if you're not using Stasis, things like Sundering Glare and Focus Lens are definitely the way to go. So Sundering Glare, basically you stand in the back of a room and you hit an enemy, like let's say a tank, and then you just proc it, do more damage instantly. Pretty self-explanatory. And then Focus Lens, literally just anything, for example, that I would Stasis, freeze, and then my teammates could use Chaos Reach, sit in a well, you know, set no shield, throw disc, whatever. It would do more damage. Especially, let's say, a Void Wall Grenade, because a Void Wall Grenade, for some reason, is insane on the tanks. So let's say I would freeze one of the tanks, then our Titan would throw the Void Wall, and it would pretty much kill the tank, because the damage output is just nuts on its own, but then plus Focus Lens, it just destroys it. So that's something good to keep in mind. And then, like I mentioned, Anti-Barrier Sniper, and then Pulse or Hand Cannon. And that's pretty much it for Artifact mods. I'm not cutting this out. Fuck it. One tank. We're going. And let's just cut to the gameplay. Let's stop chatting about stupid mods. Alright, so for the strike itself, when you first start the strike, immediately head far left, ignore everything. You don't need to fight Vex or Cabal lads, and you just save time right there off the bat. Once you're in the tubes area on the left, you can leverage yourself here and take out the champions in front of you. There should be an unstoppable champion and then a barrier champion nearby to kill. And then there'll be one more unstoppable by the entrance to the strike, the tank, the ship, whatever. Head far to the left. Eventually, you'll hit the left side of the tank area. Once you kill the ads and the champion in the area, one more unstoppable spawns. And then the security guard? The bouncer? Yeah, I don't know. Just nuke that idiot. Once the Colossus is half health, heal immune, put up a Cabal barrier. While this is happening, another unstoppable comes out. And then there's a couple of ads, Legionnaires, Phalanx, etc. Nuke that unstoppable or loot them for heavy with Aeons. And then after that, just be ready to go kill the barrier shield if you haven't already. And then focus fire the Cabal, Colossus, kill them, and then the ship opens up. Fairly simple, just keep your distance, farm ammo if you need it. Not very difficult, just need team synergy, that's it. Small thing to note, if you're using Anarchy, you actually need to stick the barrier once, and then stick it again a separate time, rather than sticking it together with two. I don't know why, but it works better this way. If you stick it twice together, the barrier won't go down, but if you stick it once, let it tick out, and then stick it a second time, then the barrier goes down. It's kind of similar to like Blights in the Prophecy dungeon. So, just a small note there if you're running Anarchy. After you've gone through the little middle section of the tank and killed a couple of ads, your next encounter will be the tank room, and judging by tons and tons of reactions online, this is everyone's personal hell. I'll try to make things as easy as I can. First off, keynote, try to keep one VIP alive, particularly the Scion. If RNG gave you that VIP, I'll explain why later. This is where Banner Shield starts coming into play. Kill the initial Cabal you see before you drop down, and once you do, immediately take out the snipers on the top left and the top right. After that, your Banner Shield can post up slightly to the right. The reasoning for this is simple. You can see down the middle lane and then be able to block all incoming damage, shoot the VIPs if you have to, kill the champions, of course, and then some ads. And if you're running Stasis like I am, chuck your Silence and Squall down the center. It'll start picking things off. It'll start freezing champions. Use this to your advantage for damage buffs, just nuking stuff very quickly while your Banner Shield is still up. I would suggest focusing the champions first before the VIPs for obvious reasons, and then you should clear most of the room. Next up, you want to eliminate any remaining interceptors or all the interceptors. Use your void weapons, your rockets, Anarchy stick the vehicle, even explosive payload from your hand cannon. Do whatever you have to, just nuke those interceptors. Don't get close because they will snipe you. Literally like they're Solid Snake from 2 cities away. Boom, you're dead. So be very careful with them. This is where you prepare yourself for the next wave once they die. What you're going to do is clear everything, and then once that one VIP that I mentioned stays alive, in my example a Scion, but it could be any of the VIPs because it's RNG, you'll go ahead and you'll kill the VIP or finish him for heavy ammo, obviously. Once you do this, go to the bottom center of the map, literally just bottom center, in a little, I don't know, what do you call it, a doorway? In here, make sure all the barrels are clear, by the way, no explosive barrels. In here, the tanks will not actually be able to hit you unless you're full-on peeking, and what you can do here is, when the ads come out with the 2 champions, you can target one of the champions, immediately nuke him safely, and then from there on, you can clear trash mobs, you know, Phalanx, Legionnaire, etc. Kill the 2 snipers that are top right, top left. They have a bad angle on you, so you don't have to worry too much, but I would still kill them as fast as you can. Then focus the second champion, kill him, and then at this point, most things should be dead. You will get some beasts coming at you. Use your stasis to freeze them, or of course, banner shield if you have to, whatever works. At this point, you can actually use your banner shield to block incoming tank damage as well, and then nuke one of the tanks. However, I would suggest, safety-wise, you actually lower both tanks damage-wise, get them low to that, you know, 1 bar or 1 shot health, and then nuke them together. And the simple reasoning for that would be you kill them both, so they're both gone, as opposed to you kill one, and then 2 more champions spawn, and a bunch of ads spawn, and some VIP spawn, and then you have to deal with all of those, plus a tank trying to nuke you, instead of just getting rid of both of them, and then only having ads to deal with, giving you a lot more breathing room. After that, it's pretty much rinse repeat. Like I mentioned, to kill one of the barriers right away, or kill both of them, split up, whatever you want to do, that's your personal preference. Then there'll be some Legionnaires, a couple of Phalanxes, some more beasts. You take them out, and finally there should be maybe 1 VIP left at the top floor who has not bothered you at all. Once you think you're clear in the safety, you know, the tanks are gone, the barriers are gone, you can come out, go to the back of the room again, finish the VIP if you need ammo, of course, and that's generally it for this room. If you just synergize your supers well in the bottom center, you basically almost never leave there until everything's dead, and it's fairly safe as long as you just keep your head on a swivel, you know, kill the snipers, don't get, I guess, cornered by both champions. It's really important that you just nuke one of them immediately. It doesn't matter which one. Just go for him. Bam, bam, dead. Alright, we have a nice flat side with not missiles incoming non-stop. And generally, that's it. Try it out. Get used to it. I guarantee it's much better than just sitting in the back of the map and hoping the tank doesn't kill you with splash damage. The little intersection between the tank and getting to the boss, it's pretty simple. You know, there's enemies ahead of you. Going to be an unstoppable, a couple of majors, some barriers. Really all you have to do is just utilize your banner shield, shoot through it, stun champions, finish for ammo, etc, etc. If you have stasis, freeze the barriers, as well as use your banner shield as your advantage to kill them. And watch out for turrets, snipe them right away, freeze everything if you have stasis, and you'll just get through it. Just a slow process. Take it safe, don't risk stuff, there's no point in risking anything. And once you get to the elevator, you're pretty much at the boss room. Now for the boss fight itself, your main plan is going to be playing it safe. Before you start the boss fight, have your fire team ready to go either to the top left or the top right corner of the map, closest to the boss spawn. This is the best cover the room really has to offer, at least in my opinion. It's because the arena is kind of slanted towards the back, as well as it has a few barricades in front of you, as opposed to just sitting at the entrance where there's like one tiny wall, and the boss can just shoot you through it, so it's kind of useless. Now, if you have stasis, before starting the boss fight, just throw like your squall or your dust field on the ground, and then when your teammate starts the fight, you get your super back, so you have a free kind of damage buff on the boss when he lands on the ground. That makes sense. And then the fight begins. You're gonna have like I believe it is 2 Legionnaires and a Phalanx from each side fall down on you, but it's okay. They fall very slow. Their animation's pretty slow. You should be able to take them out no problem, easily. And then while this is happening, your Banner Shield Titan will be eating the fireballs from the boss, so you can safely take out the ads. You can squall them, whatever you want to do, anarchy them, rocket them, etc. And then once that's done, you just focus on the incoming fireballs, and then slowly damaging the boss. Eventually, if you want, the boss's fireballs run out at, I believe, 13 waves, so you can wait till then to push the boss, or if you're confident enough, just take down the fireballs with your 120s or your pulses quickly, shoot the boss, do damage, and then make them go immune. Once the boss is immune, unstoppables will come out, 1 right next to you, and then 1 across the room from you to your left or to your right, depending which way you are. The best strategy is just nuke the one in front of you, stun him, nuke him, don't try to finish him, just kill him outright. Fireballs will come your way about maybe like 2-3 seconds after you stun the unstoppable. Make sure to kill that set. If you think you can't kill that set, you can run into the little bridge area that's under the boss spawn. It can protect you temporarily, but don't stay there too long because it'll cook you. Like, literally, it will cook you. Once you've done that, just kite the second unstoppable, or if you're, you know, chaining pretty well, stun the unstoppable, nuke him, finish him if you need to, and then you can just straight up focus on the boss again. At this point, you have the choice of either moving up slowly if you're confident, or you can, again, wait out the waves of fireballs. Again, I believe it's 13 waves. Then the boss will stop firing them and only use the void hand cannon. If you don't want to wait, that's cool. You know, if you have a Invis Hunter, they can try to go into the barrier, time it properly, stick it to Anarchy, come out, rinse, repeat, stick it a second time, and then the barrier goes down. Now, once the barrier goes down, the boss can now start firing fireballs again, and this is important. Again, your banner shield can just start eating up the fireballs, while 2 more Legionnaires and a Phalanx spawn on each side. They converge, you stasis them, or kill them with heavy, whatever you have, and then it's back to just you and the boss again. The same process repeats. Damage the boss, shoot the fireballs, or wait out the fireballs. Take cover if you need to, again with the bridge, just repeating that because it's really important. Most people don't know the bridge can be used for cover, so I just wanted to mention that again. And then once you shield the boss immunity a second time, another 2 unstoppable champions come out. Now this time, you don't want to do what you did the first time. This time, you stun the unstoppable champion in front of you, but then you start running towards the beginning of the room, the entrance. And the reason for this is the boss, after the second immune phase, will start going towards where it spawned, instead of rather the middle of the room. So what you can do with this is, you can stun the unstoppable and then run to the entrance, and at this point, the boss will no longer be able to hit you with the fireballs. It'll be out of its line of sight, out of the range, whatever. You can kill the unstoppables for free. You can loot them for heavy with Aeons if you want. And then you once again have the choice of waiting out the fireballs, or if you're, you know, impatient or experienced, you can push the boss at the spawn to take down the barrier, again with Anarchy or a rocket. Once you do that, you are finally in the final phase of the boss fight. At this point, the boss will just be start roaming around, chasing one person at a time in the room, moving fairly regularly, I would say, jumping every couple seconds. Again, there's going to be 2 Legionnaires and a Phalanx, so like 6 adds out in the room. If you have a super at this point, just nuke them. If you have a Chaos Reach or a Well or a Squall or a Tether. Obviously, the Banner Shield is for protecting purposes, so I would not use Sentinel to pop to kill a couple of Legionnaires. And at this point, you just kite the boss, split up, don't tangle with each other in a corner. Shoot the fireballs when the boss does them. And at this point, it's kind of free, I'll be honest. Once you get to this point, just kite, shoot boss, Anarchy, rocket. If the boss jumps towards you, start running, because you never want to be stationary. Like I mentioned earlier with the mods, if you have Solar Resist and Concussive Dampener on, you can survive one shot from the Void or the Solar, so you should be fine. And once the boss dies, you have completed your GM Proving Grounds. Congratulations. The fight can be overwhelming, so if you don't get the completion the first time around, don't worry about it, that's normal. But if this guide helped you and you enjoyed the video, a like and sub would be appreciated, and don't forget to check me out on Twitch as I stream daily, and catch you guys next week.